are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Radio Bandido.
I am Johnny Gomez of Johnny Gomez Live, aired daily from Monday to Friday at 9 to 10 a.m. on Radio Bandido TV, simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on Sky Cable Channel 224, digital boxes, and on free-to-air TV, facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and our official YouTube channel.
Johnny Gomez Live. Name Johnny Gomez. Occupation broadcaster. Program title Johnny Gomez Live. Station DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Address at large.
Eto na!
Muli isang magandang Martes ng umaga, mga friendly friends, pati dyan sa ating friendly neighborhood. Araw ng Martes ngayon mga kaibigan, ikalawang araw sa buwan na ito ng Agosto taong 2022. Ito po ang Johnny Gomez Live, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao at Mega Manila. Si Ryan L. Magma, ang ating technical director ngayong araw, si Angel Atienza sa production. Ako yung lingkod, si Johnny Gomez, mga kaibigan. Alam po ninyo, nung kampanya during the May 2022 elections, marami pong mga pangakong ibinigay ang ating mga kandidato, katulad ng pangako sa housing, kung paano pong pauunlarin ang lagay ng buhay ng ating mga kababayan. Hindi lang yung mga tumakbo sa presidential and national, pati po yung mga tumakbo sa pagkagobernador, pati yung mga tumakbo sa pagiging kongresista. Siniguro nila na bahagi po ng kanilang plataforma ito pong mga issues at itong mga programa patungkol sa housing. Merong mga nagsasabi, tuldukan po daw natin yung pong issue ng korupsyon, patayin natin yung korupsyon, at yung mga salapi at yung mga pondong makukuha ay pwede nating i-divert sa housing. Merong nagsasabi, part ng ating budget, part ng ating mga makukolektang buwis, i-divert natin sa housing. Pero ang tanong dyan, easier said than done yata. Ito po mga programa na ito at mga pronouncement na ito. What exactly are we facing every time we talk about housing? Itong issue ng pabahay. Ito po bang housing issue ay talagang easier said than done? Gaano po ba kaseryoso itong problema natin pagdating sa pabahay? Tayo po ay nag-imbita ng mga eksperto, mga kaibigan, to help us dissect, no? Ito nga pong issue ng pabahay. Hinihintay po natin makapasok sa ating platform ang Undersecretary for the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, si Attorney Marilyn Pintor, to help us present, pati na rin sa ating mga kababayan, saan po bang direksyon tayo dadalin ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Pero kanina pa, nasa ating platform na mga kaibigan, at ito po ay sukiyaki na ng ating palatuntunan, the world-renowned urban planner and urban planner extraordinaire. Wala pong iba. Attorney Felicino June Palafox Jr. is in the house. Architect, attorney yata yung akin nabanggit, pero Architect June, Architect Palafox, magandang umaga po sa inyo, sir.
Good morning po.
Ayan. Salamat pong muli sa pagbibigay po ninyo ng pahintulot na makasama dito sa palatuntunan. Yung ating topic, Architect, housing dahil parang nagbigay ng pronouncement si Pangulong Bongbong. Buhayin natin yung Bliss Project na naunang ginawa ng kanyang ama. Urbanization, yung EDSA traffic, result nga ba ito ng urbanization? Unbreathable space ang sinasabi sa EDSA. At kung may oras pa, siguro mag-segue tayo sa balik probinsya. Architect June, gaano kaseryoso itong problema sa housing?
Yeah. I don't know I can call it catastrophic na. Basically, it's a catch-up situation. I think the Human Settlements Department will describe it more. What is the backlog? I think estimates are 4 million to 7 million backlog. And hindi lang yun po, pati yung density and location ng housing. Like the central business districts of Makati, Fort Bonifacio, and Ortigas, concentration of business, economic activity, and jobs. But the employees of Makati CBD, Fort Bonifacio, and Ortigas are priced out of the housing stock because these are surrounded by low-density gated communities. That's an example of how not to develop a city, a case study. Supposed to be jobs and housing at balance. And we're planning 15-minute cities, polycentric cities. All your destinations from your home should be within 15 minutes. Walking, biking, and public transport. Lahat ng kailangan mo everyday dapat within 15 minutes. Walkable, bikeable, and public transit. And in our case, before the pandemic, like Makati CBD, where I work and reside, the daytime population was 11 times the nighttime population.
Okay.
Kaya you have to bring in the morning the 11 times population during the day and bring them out. The 11 times population at the end of the day. So imbalance, that's not how to plan develop a city. It should be balanced between housing and like Vienna, the most livable city in the world, 62% of the residents live in socialized housing. I think in Singapore, baka 80% pa, if I remember it right. And Metro Manila, when I was in Harvard, is fastest growing metropolis in the world.
Okay.
60 persons per hour due to in-migration also. Delhi was only 47 persons per hour. I think, remember right, London, Paris, New York, mga 5 to 7 persons per hour. Moscow was negative 2 per hour. So, yung baling probinsya can alleviate this.
All right.
May published articles na rin ako at my speaking engagements. By 2050, we will need at least 100 new cities if we don't, outside Metro Manila. If we don't do that, the existing cities today and metropolitan areas today will be as bad, if not worse, than Metro Manila. In fact, in the 70s, Metro Plan Manila, Metro Manila Transport Land Use Development Project, and the Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan, of which I was a team leader, senior planner, and project as the UNDP Manila Bay Region, we already, in our team that time, it's not recorded at that time, we said, with the do-nothing scenario, that was 1976, we'll have catastrophic flooding, catastrophic traffic, lack of decent housing, garbage collection, water supply, drainage, sewerage, and not prepared for disasters. 1976, we said that. And the catastrophe is already happening. And then for the Bliss Housing, President Bongbong Marcos, he wants to revive the Bliss Housing. And I think it will be taller. It will be taller, higher, more floors, and mixed use, if I could recommend it. You live upstairs, you work in the middle, you shop and dine on the first 2 floors. That's the trend for urban living, urban work.
Yes.
And
especially in an area na maliit, katulad ng Singapore, ganyan yung kanilang ginagawa, architecture, hindi ba? Puro high-rise.
mixed-use development po. And Singapore is 45% open space. Metro Manila, kulang na ang open space. Binebenta pa yung mga dating office space.
That's right.
Yung ibang countries, cities in the world, as the population grows, there are more open spaces and more trees are being planted. If you look at the 1979 zoning ordinance ng Metro Manila Commission, ang dami lang nawala open space. Baliktad nangyayari sa bayan natin. You talk about EDSA corridor, it's again a case study example of how not to do it.
Mm.
I think there are 13 MRT stations along EDSA. Maybe 400-meter radius or 5-minute walk to the MRT station should be higher density housing.
Okay.
Para there are more people within walkable distance of the MRT stations. What do we have there? Gated military camps,
Mhm.
gated low-density communities. Again, how not to do it. EDSA is functioning right now as 8 roads. EDSA needs 8 parallel roads because EDSA is major artery, minor artery, major collector road, minor collector road, residential access road, shopping center access road, and school access road, I think even a cemetery access road. So, 8 roads. Saan yung parallel roads? Inside gated communities and inside military camps.
Mhm. Pero itong mga parallel roads na ito, lalo sa mga gated communities, Architect June, parang questionable pa ito kung pahihintulutan ng
Yeah.
subdivision owners, hindi ba?
Yeah. In 1973, OPEC oil crisis, the gated communities of Los Angeles, like Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Hollywood, pinabuksan ng mayor ng Los Angeles, 1973. And
Alright.
kung aralan namin sa Harvard, if you have a big mansion in the middle of the city, arrogating to yourself prime urban land resources, you have a higher carbon footprint.
Mhm.
If you have a big mansion, a big house, you should be in the suburbs.
Okay.
Peculiar in Metro Manila. We are very slow to reforms. And I've said that 1997, like isang barangay na gated community in Makati, sinabi ko, increase your density, add more dwelling units,
Mhm.
and open up your gates even during peak hours lang of the day.
Okay.
And instead of following my recommendation, I was shamed and badmouthed. Fake news about me. Elsewhere in the
Totoo yan,
world,
Oh,
1997 po, wag ko na-mention yung barangay na gated community.
okay.
Oo. Kasi turo sa amin sa Harvard, American Institute of Architects, American Planning Association, they call it monster homes. Monster homes.
Mhm.
And we should shame them. But here, instead of shaming them, they shamed me. And
Yeah.
kapag trabaho na tayo 40 countries, sumusunod sa rekomendasyon ko, they even pay me better and respect me better.
Totoo yan. That's actually the disconnect, Architect June. Kaya nga sabi ko, world-renowned, no? Kilala sa buong mundo. At yung inyong mga projects and program ay pinakikinabangan ng ibang bansa. Pero dito sa atin, parang katulad ng binanggit nyo, na fake news pa, na bad mouse, no? Binigyan nyo kami ng historical facts kanina tungkol dito sa pagiging breathable ng ating mga lokasyon. At nagbigay po kayo ng comparison sa mga areas na inyong napuntahan. Nung kinonceptualize Architect Palafox ang Metro Manila, I don't know, kailan ba ito ginawa, kailan kinonceptualize? Ano po yung mga kinonsider nila, ilang taon para maging livable?
Yeah. Within 15 years, so
To the fullest
1974
sense of the word,
to
siguro, ang Metro Manila.
1977.
Okay.
Like, kaming unang nag-propose ng light rail transits.
Okay.
And we should have completed 8 lines by 1992. 8
All
lines in 1990. 1984, light rail transit, LRT1, was one of the best LRTs in the world.
Mhm.
1984. And the evolution of cities started with port-driven cities, mga seaports, and then railway-driven cities, railroads, and then highway-driven cities. This century will be airport-driven cities.
Okay.
All of those, napag-iwan na tayo ng ASEAN, Asian neighbors.
Yes, yes.
Yung napag-aralan ko sa Metro Plan Manila, Manila Bay Region, and all the projects I've done with the Philippine government between 1974 to 1977 were good examples. Kaya ako na-imbita at name-hired to have Plan Dubai bring it in the
Yes.
21st century, first world country in 15 years. Nagawa ho nila yan. Yung mga natutuhan ko sa UST, UP, eventually Harvard, na ibigay ko sa ibang countries.
Even your company ay sought after sa ibang bansa, pero dito sa atin na architect, although malaki yung pangalan ng inyong kumpanya, pero parang hindi pinapansin. Architect June, bakit kaya?
Meron din naman mga like galing lang akong vegan. Pinapakinggan yung mga recommendations namin sa vegan after this earthquake. Galing din
Okay.
po Davao, nakikinig din sila. Ilocos
Mhm.
Norte, nakikinig din sila. Kasi sa Dubai, yung rulers ng Dubai, they have visionary leadership,
Okay.
leaders with vision. They have strong political will. They have good appreciation of good urban planning, good appreciation of good design like architecture, engineering, and excellent management. Ingredients of success ng Dubai, Singapore, the most livable cities in the world, most resilient cities in the world, safest cities in the world. They have those ingredients of success. If it cannot be done nationally, at least locally na, this century is a century of cities.
Okay.
By 2050, 70% of world's population will live in cities, urban population.
Mhm.
Kaya dapat ngayon pa lang pinaplano natin. And if you do it well, if we have three good presidents, by 2040, we should be a first world country. By 2050, we can
All
be
right.
top 20 economies of the world. But we have to address corruption, criminality, climate change, inequality, and infrastructure.
Achievable ba yan? Architect
I
June?
think,
Ha?
kasi
Very political, highly political itong ating bansa, no? Ang ibang mga bansang katabi natin sa ASEAN, masasabi naman natin na talagang yung kanilang style of politics and politicking ay massive din. Pero ang parating tinatanong sa Pilipinas, very highly political, tapos may crab mentality issue pa. Saan tayo dadalhin itong ating mga distinct characteristics, Architect June?
even our profession may crab mentality, may professional
Oo.
jealousies, nagsisiraan. And I think good leadership and good citizenship also. That's what
Okay.
Dubai and Singapore has. Good leadership and good followership. Of course, there should also be constructive criticism. And it's not just corruption, criminality, climate change. Analysis paralysis.
Okay, okay. Totoo.
Analysis paralysis.
Natatawa ko. Alam po ninyo, si Architect Palafox, pinadalhan pa ako niya nung kanyang study on the urban planning, no. Merong presentation na ipinadala sa akin si Architect June. At talaga naman kung bubusin lang pong mabuti ng ating national government, and I hope na sa pagkakataong ito ay makita talaga nila yung kahalagahan, ay magkakaroon po tayo ng pagkakataon na mangarap ng ating sariling bahay. 110 million. Ballooning itong ating population, Architect June. Lumiliit yung area ng ating mga lugar na pwedeng pagtayuan ng bahay. If we are going to identify factors, no? Problema tayo, may problema tayo when it comes to education. Pagka may problema ka sa edukasyon, magkakaroon ka ng problema sa trabaho. Pag nagkaroon ka ng problema sa trabaho, magkakaroon ka ng problema sa komunidad. At yung members of the community would not be able to afford, kahit pa yung sinasabing affordable housing, baka dream come true sa kanila. May problema tayo sa populasyon, ang pamilya patuloy na lumalago, patuloy na dumarami. Ngayon, yung pinakamurang pabahay daw, nasa bundok, Architect, o kaya na sa area ng Rizal. Binanggit po ninyo kanina, 15 minutes dapat na naroon ka sa inyong trabaho. So yung accessibility sa trabaho, sa ekonomiya, sa kapirahan ng sambayanan, dapat reachable. But these are not the things that we are now seeing and happening. So, ang aking tanong, may pag-asa pa ba na magkaroon ng bahay si Juan de la Cruz, Architect June?
May pag-asa po. On the positive side, even my speaking engagements abroad, if I may share the positive about our country. If you rotate the map of the world, we're in the center of the world, Asia Pacific.
Okay.
It's no wonder for more than 300 years, we are the Asia Pacific of Spanish Europe. 50 years the Americans, 4 years the Japanese, 2 years the British. So all superpower countries will always be interested in our islands.
Okay.
We're number one in the world in marine biodiversity. We're now number one in call centers.
Mhm.
We are now number one in sailors, seamen. I'd like to believe we are number one in nurses.
Okay.
We're number two in the world in geothermal energy. We're now number two in BPOs. We have the third or fifth longest coastline in the world. Some countries, like Dubai, they only have 70 kilometers of waterfront. So Sheikh Mohammed decided to do the Palm Islands and the rest of the excavate the desert para mas maraming waterfront.
Okay.
And some countries go to war, like Russia invading Ukraine. Maybe they want
Ukraine,
more waterfront.
Yes.
Or Iraq invading Kuwait. We're number 4 in the world in shipbuilding, thanks to the Japanese and the Koreans. We're number 4 in gold. Dubai exports more gold. They don't have gold, but we have gold. Less, and then we are number 5 in the world in all mineral resources. Number 12 in human resources. The Philippines is 400 times the size of Singapore, 350 times the size of Hong Kong, 8 times the size of Taiwan, 3 times the size of South Korea.
Mhm.
We could take advantage of this if we are united as a nation.
Nagingiti ako dun sa sinasabi. Architect Jun, dahil inisa-isa ni Architect Palafox, mga kaibigan, yung mga positive areas, no? Na enough naman talaga for us to dream big, lalo na yung ating mga kababayan nabibigyan ng opportunity to work abroad, magkaroon sila ng pagkakataong kumita ng dolar at ng ibang salapi. Pagdating dito, mas maganda yung palitan ng piso. Mas maganda yung value ng perang hawak nila. Pero architect, babalik pa rin tayo, accessibility. May pera ka nga, pero ang bahay na pinakamura mong pipwedeng kunin, for example, dito ka sa Metro Manila nangungupahan, kailangan mong bumili ng bahay sa Cavite, sa Bulacan, sa Rizal, sa Laguna. Pero gusto mo dito magtrabaho tapos para ang hirap i-uproot ng pamilya. These are the factors na sa aking palagay ay nagiging hindrance, no? Para dun sa ating mga kababayan to dream big at maging owners ng kanilang mga sarili
Opo. Yeah.
property. Would you agree with me, Architect Jun?
Yes, sir. In fact, yung mga employees of Metro Manila, present the central business districts,
Oo.
they spend 6 to 8 hours a day in traffic. Para
Okay.
silang OFW in Metro Manila, because they're away from their families. 6 to 8 hours a day. I-compute mo, if you have 40 hours or 40 years of economic life, maybe you already lost 10 years in man-hours. Quality of life. And then you spoke about education. Ibang cities, other countries, sabi ko, increase your capacity at your education. You can lessen the budget for prisons.
Okay.
May direct relation po
Totoo
yan. Yeah. Proven na po yan.
Oo.
At saka sa Dubai, nung nagsisimulan Dubai, yung mga prisoners,
Oo.
pinilabas ni Sheikh Rashid, the founder more in Dubai, sila nagtrabaho, construction ng unang airport ng Dubai. Naging productive sila.
Okay.
Nung
Okay.
natapos na yung airport,
Make them productive.
Oho. Anong ginagawa sa mga preso natin? Shabu factory daw. And so on.
Yeah,
So-
that's correct.
Magtrabaho sila to be still productive members of our society.
Mhm. Architect, magaling kayo dun sa mga configurations, no? Pati yung mga analysis, mathematical, etc., scientific. Pinag-aaralan ninyo sa urban planning. Kanina binanggit ko 110 million. Hindi ko alam kung ilan dito sa population ang may sariling bahay na. Pero kapag pinakinggan mo yung ating mga kababayan, parang majority of our population ay nangangarap ng simpleng pabahay. Saan natin kukunin, Architect Jun, itong mga areas na ito para nang sa ganun magkaroon talaga ng disenteng pamumuhay at pabahay
Yeah.
itong ating mga kababayan?
Ang sinabi ko kanina, cities should be polycentric, maraming sentro. We should
Okay.
also do that for the whole Philippines. Hindi lang
Yes.
Imperial Manila, Imperial
Yes.
Cebu, Imperial Davao, and so on. Kaya marami kami tinutulungan ngayon na met- emerging metropolitan areas, and megalopolis. A megalopolis is several metropolitan areas. A metropolis is several cities. And mga concept namin ini-introduce like from ridge to reef, from the
Alright.
mountain to the coastline, the highlands, midlands, lowlands, and coastline. We can master pa nun the whole watershed. And we should put more job centers in the province. In 2006, present ko yung 60th anniversary of the United Nations, present ko sa New York, even interconnecting the 6 continents of the world by railways, tunnels, bridges, roads, and so on. And the reaction was, what's this crazy Filipino talking about? The next day, congratulate sila, cheaper than the Middle East War. That's
Okay.
2006. 2013, in-announce ng China ang Road Belt Project, they excluded the Americas. Pero 2000, sa Philippines naman, na-propose ko sa around Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Central Luzon, 10 circumferential roads. Pinapos ng American Corps of Engineers, 6 circumferential roads. 10 para i-integrate ang Calabarzon, Central Luzon to bypass Metro Manila.
Okay.
Yung ginagawa yung proposal ko long time ago, yung Bataan, Cavite, link,
Yes.
so both tunnel and bridge, and then interconnect the whole Philippines with railways, bridges, and so on. Even Maglev of Germany, the fastest train in the world, pinuntahan din ako 2006 in my office. Kung Maglev daw, parang meron siyang German made, Lawag to Davao, less than 3 hours.
Architect June, I really thank you for your vision. At kapag pinakikinggan ko po yung inyong mga aral sa akin, ako'y talagang very thankful and grateful dahil maraming natututunan. Ang sabi po ninyo kanina, 2050, kailangan meron tayong 100 new cities. I have very, very limited exposure pagdating dito sa urbanization ng ibang mga localities. I've been to Bacolod, I've been to Davao at ilang areas ng Mindanao. Doon ko nakita yung rise ng urbanization. Pero ito yung aking napansin, architect. Kapag ang isang lugar ay pinasok ng development, nandyan rin ang traffic. Sa Bacolod, when I visited Bacolod sometime in 2018, it took me parang konting stretch lang papuntang airport. 2 hanggang 3 oras na biyahe because of the monstrous traffic. Sa Davao, hinabol ko yung flight ko at 6 p.m. Umalis ako ng 1:00 ng hapon. 1:00 ng hapon from my area. Dahil hinahabol ko yung flight ko ng 6:00, muntik pa akong maiwan ng eroplano. So, the promise of development sa ganitong klase ng setup, nagkakaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na magbigay ng oportunidad at trabaho sa ating mga kababayan. Nagkakaroon tayo ng development, pabahay, factory, etc., etc. Pero parang slow-paced yung ating buhay, Architect June, because of traffic. Is there a way to solve this?
Ano po? Kasi yung mga transportation planners natin, hindi tinitigan yung land use. Yung transportation and traffic, roads and all, it's the supply side of transportation. The demand side of transportation is the land use and the density. Saan yung destination mo? So we should have better integration between transportation planning and land use planning.
All right.
And it's no longer just location. It's now connectivity, accessibility, mobility. And proposals namin sa mga dinidesign namin na metropolitan areas and cities, yung vertical urbanism or tall buildings.
Yes.
Fellow ako ng Council for Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat headquartered in Chicago. We are now encouraging vertical cities and tall buildings. They are more environment friendly and you accommodate more people. Like Singapore is 5 million population. Singapore is Philippines 400 times Singapore. They have 45% open space.
Okay.
Ang Hong Kong, because vertical city and tall buildings, 71% open space. They have the lungs of the city. Metro Manila, binebenta na yung lungs of the city natin. Kinumpare ko nga Metro Manila to a human body.
Yes.
Metro Manila, because binebenta ng mga open spaces, partially open, is the lungs of the city. So it needs now a lung transfer.
Mhm.
Then the major arteries are the roads and waterways. So we need now a heart bypass. The heart of the
Nako.
city are the central business district. So we need Metro Manila need heart transplant. But there's still a way: urban renewal, urban development, urban acupuncture, tactical urbanism, vertical urbanism. And dapat lang may vision and political will at implementation. Marami kaming ginagawa ngayon. 72 years old na ako. Natulungan ko ng 40 countries. Sa Dubai, yung mga perspectives, architectural perspective, urban design of the future, I call them snapshots of the future. Kasi
Okay.
alam ko i-implement nila. Dito sa Pilipinas, yung mga drawings na namin, perspectives and urban design perspective, architectural, tawag ko na, postcards from the future. Hopefully, maybe 4 generations from now, 3 generations from now, 3 from now, we'll follow those postcards from the future. Gagawa po tayong mga libro niyan. Para
Sandali, babalikan ko mga kaibigan si Architect June Palafox. Oo nga, babalikan natin itong talakayan. Architect, sandali lang ha, meron lang report ang ating kabandidong si Jojo Sikat.
Opo.
Joe, magandang umaga sa iyo. Please come in.
Naghain itong si Senador Nancy Binay ng panukalang batas na naglalayo na gawing exempted sa buwis ang 13th month pay ng lahat ng manggagawa sa gobyerno at pribadong sektor. Sa kanyang Senate Bill number 111, pinaamyendahan ng National Internal Revenue Code at ipinapasok ang probisyon na nagsasaad na hindi na isasama ang 13-month pay sa mga komputasyon ng taxable income o kita na pinapatawa ng buwisa. Ayon dito kay Binay, malaking tulong ito sa mga manggagawa dahil ang mga hindi nakakaltasin bilang buwis ay pandagdag na sa pambili nila ng pagkain at sa pangtustos sa edukasyon ng mga anak. Kailangan aniya itong ikonsidera ng gobyerno ngayong mayroon pang pandemya at patuloy ang pagtataas ng presyo ng petrolyo at mga pangunahing bilihin. Nagpaalala din si Binay na utos ng konstitusyon na isulong lagi ang paglaya ng taong bayan mula sa kahirapan sa pamamagitan nga ng mga pulisiya na magtataas ng antas at kalidad ng kanilang pamumuhay. Ako, si Jojo Sikat, nagulat para sa DCRJ 810 AM, ang Radyo Bandido TV.
Salamat po ng marami si Jojo Sikat mga kaibigan mula sa mataas na kapulungan. Si Joel Acadola, nakikinig at nanonood sa atin mula sa Pangasinan, Architect June. Si Ma'am Rosendo, Rosendo Entena, mula naman sa Santa Rosa City sa Laguna. Nabanggit ni Architect June kanina, Laguna, Santa Rosa City. Ang daming development na ginagawa po dyan. At hopefully, we are all hoping na talagang maging matagumpay itong mga development na ito. Architect June, short-term, mid-term, long-term solutions dito po sa
Opo.
ating problema
Yeah.
when it comes to urbanization. And ako kasi ang nakikita ko, although talagang sinasabi ng mga eksperto, maraming mga positibong ginagawa ang urbanization, pero sa katulad namin na tinitingnan lang yung daloy ng trapiko, yung ill effects ng urbanization ang parati namin nakikita. Ano yung short, mid at long-term solutions dito,
Yeah.
Architect?
In fact ko, ang mga recommendations namin, immediate action program.
Okay.
The first 100 days, implement yung plan. Then short term, medium term, long term. Maski kontrata namin, medium term, until 2040 lang. Ginagawa namin, may long term na at visionary. Kasi ibang bayan, like after disaster, big earthquake,
Yes.
in Bam, Iran, Chuchi organization hired us architects for schools in Bam, Iran. Citadel, the founder, Dharma Master of Chuchi, Buddhist organization, instructed me to design the schools for an earthquake that never happened. Intensity 10.
Okay.
And then the big earthquake in Kathmandu, the same Buddhist organization, again, the Dharma Master founder instructed me, design the hospital, university, and preschools to last 1,000 years, 40 generations. In our country, when I talk about 100 years, only 4 generations, people are very skeptical.
Yes.
And then for the short term, kasi ang bayan din natin, maybe because of the elections every 3 years, every 6 years, short term and opportunistic.
Okay.
Sa private sector naman, masyadong profit-oriented.
Yes.
Short term and opportunistic then, some. And then over the long term, like if I mention, Philippines will be between 148 to 160 million population by 2050. NCR, Metro Manila, by 2050 will be 17 million people. 2070, 90 million people. Central Luzon will be 2050, 19 million population. 2070, 23 million population. Calabarzon, 27 million by 2050 population, 35 million by 2070. So kasi yung big ticket items like infrastructure, railways, highways, it takes a long time. Seaports, international airports. And to make our country talaga create more jobs, I have a revolutionary idea in urban development, national development. Make our country a free port like Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong. I think our OFW will come up. We have 7,701 islands yata. Hindi na natin magwardyahan. Why not make our uninhabited islands, lease them for 100 years to different countries who will develop the island. After 100 years, they return it to the Philippines. Make the whole Philippines free port. Maybe free port, hindi na kailangan ng customs and BIR. Tax-free, parang Dubai.
Total ang sinasabi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, yung government-to-government negotiations ay baka tutulong. Although nabanggit niya ito when it comes to fertilizer. Sandali, Architect June, si Fred Haza nanunood mula sa Albania. Meron rin pati ang Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development nanonood po sa inyo. Very insightful. Salamat daw po dun sa inyong mga binabanggit na mga ideas, Architect June Palafox. Pero we are still waiting. Nakikinig, nanonood, nakikinig Ang Departamento, Undersecretary Attorney Marilyn Pintor, ma'am, may oras pa. Kailangan po naming marinig yung marching order ng ating Pangulo para talaga magkaroon tayo ng idea kung saan tayo dadalhin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos when it comes to housing. Dahil, Architect June, kanina doon sa aking introduction, ang dami nagbigay ng kanilang mga pangako, no? Hindi lang yung mga presidential candidates, hindi lang yung mga vice presidential candidates, down to the local candidates. Meron silang sari-sariling bersyon ng housing initiatives. Pero, pinag-uusapan natin short term, mid-term, long-term. Si Architect June nagbigay na ng kanyang mga inputs on how to make use of the 7,100 islands. Meron nga bagong ngayon, numero 7,600 islands na daw. Meron ng Pilipinas. Yung government-to-government initiative, nabanggit yung public-private partnership. Palagay ko, we are in that right direction and path, no? Kung ating susuriin. Pero, yung uprooting, Architect June, ito parating kong babalikan, uprooting ng ating mga kababayan. For the Filipinos to truly enjoy yung kanilang community, there has to be access to schools, access to yung kanilang work areas, no? Access to church at mga leisure parks, etc., etc. Marami tayo bang initiatives, nabanggit po ninyo, number 1 tayo noon sa light rail. Meron tayong subway ngayon na dinidevelop. But the problem is, itong mga structure na ito ay unang nagsimula yung light rail
LRT1.
sa North EDSA, nagtapos sa Taft Avenue. LRT1, yes sir. Those living in Novaliches and working in Makati, for them to be able na makapasok sa platform ng unang LRT station, kailangan nilang mag-consume ng 3 hanggang 4 na oras na biyahe from their home to the platform. Platform parang ng LRT ito. Yung 4 na oras na yan, ay marami nang pwedeng gawin si Juan de la Cruz. Pagdating niya sa trabaho, unproductive na, Architect Jun. Pagod na eh. The same dilemma ang kanyang kakarapin every time na siya ay umuwi. So, yung bang location ditong mga anong tawag dito? Itong mga sasakyan natin, yung ating mga public transportation. Ito ba'y pinag-aralan na maigi at kinonsider ba yung ating mga kababayan na malayo yung inuuwian? Bahagi ba ito ng urban planning, Architect?
Oh, kasama ko yan. Land use and transportation and traffic. In fact, in our office, since the pandemic, yung mga nakatira sa, dati sinusundo namin sila, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, Bulacan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija. Yung pandemic, sinusundo namin sila. Pero ngayon na, normal na, yung malalayang bahay, they're allowed to sleep in the office. O may mga ano sila.
Okay.
And then
May mga
mga
quarters
ginagawa
na.
namin increase job opportunities. Kasi yung mga outskirt, parang dormitory towns tulugan na. Kaya even in, buti nakikinig ang human settlements. Kasi most new development, 70% residential, 30% open space. And yung 30% kasama pa ang kalye. Elsewhere in the world, yung 30% open space,
Oo.
hindi kasama ang road network. Dito sinama yung road network, open space. Open space ba yung kalye? You cannot play in the roads. Kaya mali rin, that's also a obsolete law. And then, yung socialized housing, magpatayo sa Makati, yung socialized housing mo, pwede sa Batanes o Tawi-Tawi.
Okay.
Hindi sa Makati. Ganon na. Ang dami natin obsolete laws that
Okay.
make us left behind.
Aha.
Kaya dapat inaaral, kasi sa pinag-aralan ko, 8 courses kinuha ko sa Harvard. I was a lecturer of Harvard ako estudyante. Hindi lang physical urban planning. May political aspect, business aspect, even faith and so on. Political aspects and so on. Comprehensive. Hindi lang, akala ng iba, urban planning is physical aspects lang.
Yes, yes.
Rural engineering. It's not. And dapat, and most urban planning decisions now are being made by politicians, not urban planners. And elsewhere in the world, like nasa Dubai ako, yung dulo ng Dubai, nakikinig sa amin, architects, urban planners, engineering, before he makes his decision.
Yes. Kaya babalik tayo, Architect Jun, dun sa sentimiento ng ating mga kababayan. Kahit na meron tayong sound policies at yung ganitong klaseng mga programa na, I don't know, achievable nga ba o hindi. Pero how do we translate itong magagandang programa na ito dun sa mararamdaman ni Juan de la Cruz? Very specific yung ating example eh. Living in Novaliches, the kababayan needs to transport for 3 to 4 hours, devote his first 3 to 4 hours sa traffic para lang makarating dun sa platform. Paano po natin i-encourage ang ating mga kababayan to magtiwala dito sa mga programa na ito kung sila naman yung mahihirapan, Architect?
Yeah. Meron, if I may, private sector initiatives like MRT7 by San Miguel.
Okay.
Novaliches. And then they're also doing from San Jose del Monte to Bulacan, the proposed, the largest international airport in Metropolis.
Yes.
And around that airport, we're doing 7 new cities. And yung best practices in the world, i-adopt yun. Yung 15-minute city, 5-minute neighborhood, and so on. Place to work, nandun lahat. Healthcare, all you need every day nandun. And inclusive, hindi exclusive. 1973, sinulat ko sa term paper ko sa UP, development is not worthy of a name unless spread evenly like butter and a piece of bread. Today, tawag ngayon yan, inclusive growth, inclusive zoning. Pero maraming tayong exclusive zoning. Ine-exclude yung mahirap. Yung land use, ine-exclude yung place of work. Ine-exclude yung place to live. Kaya, I'll be writing a book, legacy ko na, Metro Manila, how not to do it. Kasi maraming students ng urban planning from Europe, from the US, Asia, they come to interview me. Metro Manila, what went wrong? Metro
Yes,
Manila in
yes,
the
yes.
70s was a watershed of urban planning.
Aha.
It was a good example. Kaya nga ako na-hire sa Dubai. Kasi ang ganda ng plano ng Metro Plan Manila, of which I was team leader, senior planner, 1974 to 1977.
Mhm.
Imbita ako sa Dubai 1976. Pero sabi ko, may kontrata ako sa gobyerno, tapusin ko muna. After
Okay.
4 months, mag-report ako sa Dubai. Ang ganda ng Metro Plan Manila. And then, after Ondoy,
Yes, oo.
may nagsabi na, wag ko nang sabihin, Ondoy was an act of God. Merong
Okay.
kasama nyo sa media, tinawagan ako, 5 o'clock in the morning Dubai, 9 o'clock in the morning here. I was in Dubai. Sinabi raw, Ondoy was an act of God. Then sabi ko, it's not an act of God, but sin of omission of men and women running our country. Kasi yung recommendations to address flooding na-propose na 1974, 1977, and it was in our planning report. Hindi ginawa yung dredging ng Laguna Lake at sa Parañaque Spillway. President Gloria approved all our recommendations to address flooding. Unfortunately, succeeding administration canceled it out. Even
Parang, Architect June, parang kahit pa sabihin natin kailangan at lahat ng inyong mga binabanggit ay matutuloy if there is political will, no? But the problem is patong-patong na yung problema at tila wala tayong nakikitang tamang direksyon from people in government to really address the issue. Parang puro band-aid solution. Maglalagay ng subway, maglalagay ng panibagong linya ng LRT, MRT, etc. Pero yung heart of the problem from the place ng ating kababayan papunta dun sa kanyang trabaho, hindi naman talaga nasusolusyonan. Ilang taon ang inyong nakikita para maayos natin itong mga problema na ito, Architect?
For me, if we act like Dubai and Singapore, in 15 years, first world na tayo.
So
But
if we are going to act now like Dubai and Singapore, in 15 years, first
world country na tayo.
Okay.
And then yung revolutionary ideas for national development, urban development, we make free ports. We need maybe, Dubai is, Singapore is 400 times the Philippines. Maybe I can justify 400 international airports and free ports.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, what else can I say? Dapat, ano lang. Pero, ano naman, positively, this President Bongbong, mukhang nakikinig.
Okay.
Mukhang nakikinig. And the cabinet, magagaling sila. Most of them anyway. And most of them. In fact, ngayon, dahil ang meeting mo I'm supposed to be meeting with the
I know.
Secretary of Transportation, but Mr. Johnny Gomez and your associate there, medyo
P. Bautista.
tutok kulit dikit na nandito ako yung 9 o'clock.
Yes. Pero I'm sure matutuloy yung inyong meeting with the good secretary, Jaime Bautista. Hihingi ako
9
sa iyo ng
o'clock po.
update.
9 o'clock ngayon.
10 o'clock after this. I see.
Hindi ako makahabol. Ano na lang.
Tapos, bigyan mo
Sulatan
kami
ko
ng
na lang
update.
siya.
Architect,
Opo.
bigyan mo kami ng update kung ano
Okay,
yung mga
yung
pag-uusapan.
disaster preparedness,
Oo.
I said in my book, I wrote a book towards resilient cities, communities, the Philippines. It's 90% less expensive to address the hazard before they become disasters,
Okay.
aside from saving more human lives. Dapat there are 18 kinds of hazards. 10 man-made and 8 natural hazards. Alam
Okay.
na natin yung hazard.
Yes.
In fact, PhilBox gumawa na ng hazard map. PhilBox gumawa ng fault finder. Saan yung earthquake faults? Alam na natin. So we should address that now before the catastrophe happened.
That's right.
2004, estimate if the big one happens in Metro Manila, 50,000 people will get killed. 30,000 because of the earthquake, 20,000 because of the fire that will fall. Metro Manila will divide into 4.
Yes.
North and south of Pasig River, east and west of the fault line, and along Manila Bay. And then thousands of kilometers of wires, cable cars for electricity will snap. So maybe you cannot get the responders within 72 hours because of mobility, accessibility. And maybe the responders will take care of their families first. Kaya sa office namin, re-repair namin lahat. May flashlight, may whistle, mag-break ng window, mag-repairing pababa. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
or
Wow.
whether tatakbo kami sa rooftop or tatakbo sa baba.
Okay.
Then we have, I think, 100 fire extinguishers in our
All over. Yeah.
700 square meters ng office namin.
Itong libro na ito, commercially available, Architect June?
Ano po,
Yung
ewan
pong
ko, may
librong
natira
sinasabi
pa
ninyo?
ang daming request for reprint.
Oo.
National Bookstore nag-distribute. Ang
Okay.
publishers unveil yung
Anong pangalan ng libro at Architect?
The Philippines Towards Resilient Cities and Communities. I got the Best Author Award. Nagulat nga ako, architect.
Talaga?
Best Author Award.
Ay, nako. Wala na po kaming oras ni Architect June. Sayang, hindi nakasama si Attorney Marilyn. Pero alam po ninyo, napakarami pa nating dapat i-tackle. Napakarami pa pong issue na dapat mabigyan ng agarang aksyon at tugon mula sa ating mga taong gobyerno at mga pribadong sektor. Katulad po ni Architect Filino June Palafox Jr. Sa mga susunod na pagkakataon, Architect, muli kaming kakatok ng oras po sa inyo para kami samahan sa palatuntunan.
At least our local leaders, mayors and governors, at least 10% of them are very good.
Mhm.
The 90%, they can be better. We should help.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Very positive. Maganda yung parting words ni Architect June, very positive. Salamat po ng marami. All the best, Architect June Palafox. I cannot thank you enough. Sa susunod po, kami muling hihingi ng pabor na kayo'y makasama sa palatuntunan. Salamat po ng marami, Architect.
Yeah, thank you po.
Thank you so much. Si Architect June Palafox, mga kaibigan, nakasama natin sa palatuntunan. Bago ko pansamantalang magpaalam, meron pang isang balita si Jojo Sikat. Jo, muli isang magandang umaga sa iyo mula ito sa Senado. Please come in, Jo.
Sinuportahan ni Senator Francis Tolentino ang pasya o hakbang ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. na hindi napabalikin ang bansa bilang kasapi ng International Criminal Court. Iginiti Tolentino na ang pasya ng Pangulo ay sumasalamin sa dalawang pundasyon ng soberanya o kasarinlan ng bansa. Tinutukoy ng senador ang independent foreign policy at ang national security o pambansang seguridad. Magugunita na sinabi ng Pangulo na wala siyang intensyon na pasalihin muli ang Pilipinas sa ICC kung saan may naggigiit na imbestigahan ang mga patayan at ang mga pag-aabuso sa drug war ng Duterte administration. Dahil dito iniatas ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang pagkala sa ICC ng Pilipinas. Ayon kay Tolentino na nakatakda maging Vice Chairman ng Senate Committee on Foreign Relations at kapanalig ng Duterte at Marcos administration, may sariling mga korte ang Pilipinas at ang mga ito ang may poder na maggawad ng hustisya sa bansa. Ipinaliwanag pa ni Tolentino na kinikilala naman ito ng International Criminal Court sa tinatawag nilang complementarity principle na nangangahulugan na hindi kailangang pakialaman ng ICC ang mga kaso na nililitis o inaaksyonan na ng bansa kung saan nangyari o ginawa ang ipinaparatang na krimen. Ganito rin aniya ang paninindigan ng Estados Unidos, India at China na hindi lumagda sa Rome Statute na lumikha sa ICC. Ayon naman kina Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Coco Pimentel III at Senadora Risa Hontiveros na kapwa nagrekomendang bumalik ang Pilipinas sa ICC, iginagalang nila ang prerogatiba ng Pangulong Marcos. Pero sana ayon kay Hontiveros, hindi man bumalik ang bansa sa ICC, hindi dapat nahadlangan ng Pangulong Marcos ang investigasyon sa drug war na nangyari nung miyembro pa ang Pilipinas ng ICC. Ako, si Jojo Sikat nag-uulat para sa DCRJ 8 AM, ang Radyo Bandido TV.
Salamat po na maigit marami mga kaibigan, si Jojo Sikat yan mula sa Batas na Kapulungan. Muli ang aking pasasalamat sa mga nakasama natin sa palatuntunan, si Architect Filino June Palafox, isa pong urban planner extraordinaire, no? At alam po ninyo, talagang sought after ng iba't ibang mga bansa pagdating dun sa kanyang mga plano. Hindi lang nakasama si Attorney Marilyn Pintor, Undersecretary ng Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development. Ayan, wala na po akong oras. Bukas, tungkol po dun sa mga non-contact apprehension ang ating pag-uusapan. Samahan po ninyo ako dito sa Johnny Gomez Live. Si Ryan L. Bagbang, ating technical director, si Angel Atienza, ang head ng production ng Konyo Lingkod, Johnny G. Johnny Gomez, mga kaibigan, pansamantala. Bye-bye.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.